Hello and welcome back to Typical City. This is your latest Manchester City news and transfer news. Here we go again. It's a slow news day. So what do? You talk about City in the Premier League charges. Arsenal about to spend 200 million in the transfer market. Let's talk about City and their spending. United about to spend 55 million on Mason Mount. Let's talk about City's spending and their illegal spending charges. Absolute nonsense. The drivel that is already been pouring out from all of the media and all the publications that we've seen already. They're at it again. Piers Morgan got his fingerprints all over this one. He released revelations about new documents that have been obtained which haven't been released, and I doubt they would be released, but the information inside is dubious at best. 30 million payment has been supposedly made. And this is information from Martin Ziegler and Matt Lawton, a United fan at the Times. Need to be highlighted, yes, a United fan. And it's starting to look like a smear campaign. It's not convincing that this is being approached from a neutral perspective. This is clearly has an agenda. This is a political agenda-driven smear campaign. That's exactly what it is, and you need to be careful, and I think they are careful enough, because the article and the column that I read was littered with the words alleged and is of the opinion, and Piers Morgan's title at the bottom is Man City Financial Scandal ? No one's going to remember the question mark. People focus on the actual statement, but it wasn't a statement because you pop a little bit of punctuation on the end that's called a question mark, and that gets you away from being sued. But they do need to be careful how far they take this, because if they keep continuing and City are proven to be innocent, then they will sue the fucking balls off everybody and destroy them, take all their money, not all of their money, but they will take a large sum. And they won't even be for City. They'll probably donate it to charity to humiliate them. They're trying to humiliate us and drag the club's name through the mud with very little actual facts and actual information that's proven, and from a respectable source as well. That needs to be considered in this situation, because it all goes back to one man who was in association when was liaising with Der Spiegel, the German publication, and they publicised information way back in before the UEFA court case, and has resurfaced because the Premier League have got involved. And this all came from one man, a Portuguese hacker named Rui Pinto, who he was on his way to prison, by the way, for his actions. Not just those actions. He's got his fingerprints in other hacking situations, illegal hacking situations. And he's on his way to prison. So if that's not of an indication of how credible the sources are that they keep wanting to suggest that are credible sources. No one's saying who their sources are in these publications, and the Times article says sources. No one's being named. But there are names popping up with regards to City. Yeba Mohammed is the individual who was apparently paid these two 15 million pounds instalments back in 2012 and 2013 to suggest that it was falsified sponsorship deals, whereas City are claiming no. This isn't the whole article, this monstrous article. There is a little snippet, there is a little quote at the bottom where City say that Yeba Mohammed is not an intended sponsor. He is investing into the club. This is equity, as in he's buying a slice of the club, which has nothing to do with sponsorship and is perfectly legitimate, and therefore ruins their argument completely. And if that's proven to be the case, then these £30 million payments mean absolutely nothing. It has nothing to do with sponsorship. They're not revenue being considered coming in to be then used on transfers or any sort of outlay that City want to spend. If that's equity, that's not sponsorship, okay? So that's a big factor that's been minimised by the likes of Martin Ziegler and Matt Lawton and Piers Morgan. And on his show, it was a disgrace. Back in February, when I first spoke about the Premier League charges that came City's way, I was dubious of stating that it's racism. And it's slowly starting to look a little bit fishy. The way that Qatar obtained the World Cup is has major question marks that are yet to be proven. Nothing has been proven. The FIFA scandal has been involved in all of this, but that's not City, first of all. That's FIFA who are the problems in that situation. And second of all, they talk about ownership models very frequently. And in this video that was released last night, let's also state the fact that this video from Piers Morgan came out before the Times newspaper. So he had a range of guests lined up, ready to stick the knife in City as much as they possibly could. That came out last night. The Times newspapers that the video was founded on, the information, they're all arriving in people's letterboxes the next day, okay? So there has been some sort of collaboration there between Martin Ziegler and Matt Lawton, who was on the show, by the way, so of course there was. He's, Piers, by the way, Piers, I'm about to stick the knife in City. Do you want to make my article even bigger by making a video about it and putting it on Talk TV? That'll make the article even bigger and get Mouth talking even more about cheats this and cheats that. Of course it is. So it's a collaboration. A smear campaign is the term I'm going to continuously use because that's exactly what this is. And it follows on from the treble. This is jealousy at its finest, basically. This is highlighting the fact that City have clearly won with sensible spending, because the net spend that City have got accumulated since Pep Guardiola's arrival is nearly half of what United's is since Guardiola's arrival. And what have they got to show for it? No one's talking about their spending, and it goes into the factor of ownership models, and the Newcastle owners, the Saudi Arabian owners, were talking about it. How the Saudi Arabian League are now buying English Premier League. So what? So what? They've got money. They've got money. We've got money. And no one had a problem with us. No one in England, in particular, had a problem when we were buying the best players from all over the world, because we've got all the money. We are the kings. We still are, by the way, because Saudi Arabia has other issues with families not wanting to move there just for family reasons and geographical reasons, personal reasons, nothing to do with they don't like the country or the people that live there. This is just a case of they don't want to move there. I'm not convinced they're going to become the new Premier League or anything like that. Far from it. But no one in England had a problem when we go and buy the best players from all over the world like we're doing right now, and we continue to do it. They don't say a word. It's the set. You can go all the way down the divisions and the ownership models. They seem to have a problem when they're from the Middle East. You know, when it's an American ownership model or an English ownership model, good guys. They're the good guys, the white-skinned good guys. It's getting that way. And then you go down to Wrexham. Why don't you ask Notts County how they feel about Wrexham being bought by a huge organisation in Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, Hollywood superstars that I love, by the way, hilarious. Two individuals that I love. I think they're brilliant. But they've come in from America and outbid everyone in their league to the point where they got promoted and pipped Notts County to being promoted into the Football League. Why don't you ask Notts County how they feel about their ownership model? No one's saying anything about Ryan Reynolds. They're heroes. The Hollywood superstars. How fantastic it is for Wales and bringing in for Wrexham and making it such a fantastic organisation, doing for the community. And it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Whereas City invest in the community, like sports washing. It's disgusting. And there's a lot of that going on. A lot of this is to do with sports washing, supposedly, and how you've got the UAE and the Qatar, and they have ongoing geopolitical opposition against each other. Basically, they are against each other and they are vying for the rights to shout the loudest in their part of the world, and that's what they're doing. And whether they're doing using City as an organisation to promote themselves, that's within their rights, to be honest, because they're not doing anything illegal. There's nothing proven to be illegal as of yet. And if you do want to go down the legal route, then you've got to ask questions about the term lawfully obtained. And Rui Pinto has hacked Manchester City's accounts. First of all, if he's hacked them, okay, fine, this is a man who can hack. Do you really think City would be that stupid to type up all their wrongdoings and document it? Why would they do that? Why would they put it in emails in black and white? Let's break the rules, everybody. Hi, do you want 50 million? Here you go. Send that over to that account, and image rights, and get Yaya Touré's extra money, and Mancini, get him a bit of extra money. Do you think we document that? If this club is clearly well ran by incredibly intelligent people, business savvy individuals that They're not messing around, and the hacker is Rui Pinto is stupid enough to think that we're stupid enough to document it, because those documents, an 8-year-old could open up a Word document and type it out. There was no watermark, there was no proof that they weren't doctored, they weren't fabricated. I could go and write that email and say, look, here's a Word document that I found from City. This is what they said to each other. And because he's from some sort of reputable source, Rui Pinto the hacker, this is where it's all come from. It started from there. And it's snowballed into this situation. And the glint in Khaldoon Mubarak's eyes in the interview at the end of the season, which I recommend all City fans go and do. Go and watch that, by the way. The glint in his eyes when he was talking about these charges, and he has strong views on these Premier League charges. That man was oozing confidence. That man was suggesting with his body language and the choice of words and that little glint in his eye, to me, was suggesting we are going to fucking batter them in court, because we have got information that they are not privy to. We have got information, and facts is the word he kept using, facts that they have not got access to, and they continue to run with speculation and publicise speculation through sources that are totally not credible. And if it goes down the situation of law, and we're not talking about sport law, I'm talking about the law, HMRC, getting tax evasion, things like that, those charges are starting to look more like the law itself needs to get involved. In which case you go to the real court, not sport court, you go to the Supreme Court with things like this eventually, and you start getting the FBI involved and getting hacking, like we're talking about the fucking cartel and the mafia. How far are we going to take this? Because if it's going to go down that route, you've got to start questioning the term lawfully obtained, because you can't use evidence by kicking in someone's door and you've got to have a warrant to break into someone's house and search it. That's the basics of obtaining evidence. You've got to do that. And hacking is the equivalent of kicking someone's door in without their permission and without their warrant, of being unlawfully obtained evidence. And it will be thrown out of court, inadmissible in court, and therefore the whole case is based on unlawfully obtained information. And regardless of whether that's a technicality or not, that's the fucking law, and you're going to have to deal with that, I'm afraid. And even if it is a technicality, that just goes to show the financial fair play and how pathetic these laws are. Because I mentioned it back in the day, Gary Neville is a very strong advocate for getting rid of financial fair play. And he's a United man. But you know why? It's not because he's thinking about United. It's because he's thinking about Salford, the club that he owns. He's realised that he has got more money than everyone else down there in those divisions. But he's not allowed to spend it. Why? Why isn't he allowed to spend it? Because that's just business. Some people have more money than others, and that's how business works, because nobody was complaining when United were outbidding everybody. And they still are, by the way. And Arsenal were outbidding everybody. And they still are, by the way. Declan Rice, the most recent reminder of being outbid. We didn't outbid. Who's ruining football? Us? Or the ones that we keep getting outbid for? For Maguire, for Fred, for Sanchez, for Jorginho. We want Ronaldo, do we? Oh, United coming now. We're paying big money for him. You know, Declan Rice, Virgil van Dijk, we were in for him. £75 million Liverpool ended up spending for him. So these figures are all from the big fat red clubs, okay? And we're not hitting those heights that they're spending. We're not. In terms of net spend, we're beneath them. So it's starting to look like a very purposeful smear campaign, and I am feeling ever so confident that we are going to smash them to bits in courts, and I cannot wait. But Blues, you're going to have to sit and wait. Hold tight, put the seatbelt on, strap yourself in, because we're going to be accused of cheats left, right and centre, and there is no way that we're going to get to celebrate these trophies without the association. We'll celebrate amongst ourselves. We know that they're just pure jealousy. Between us, we can celebrate. Of course we can. Inside, we're all feeling fuzzy and warm because we're the treble winners, the real treble winners. They want to point the finger and go, cheats, cheats, cheats. Let them do it. Let the babies have their bottles. And then when the time comes, we'll shove it down their throats so that we weren't cheating and we get proven innocent, because I'm so confident. And if we do get proven guilty, I will come on here and I will hold my hands up and say we need to face our punishments. But there is very little to prove to me. I mean, even David Dein, who was on the show, David Dein, former Premier League and former Arsenal chairman, they brought him onto Piers Morgan show. I'll go and watch it after this. The Piers Morgan show last night. had David Dein and Matt Lawton, a Man United fan. And they approached David Dein, and Piers Morgan was obviously thinking, right, I've got an Arsenal man on here and a United man over there, right, let's get into it. Let's get stuck into City. David Dein, what do you think? And he's like, I think innocent until proven guilty. But what about the charges? What about the charges? No, I think innocent until proven guilty. We need to be careful about what we say because we need to actually approach this pragmatically. And Piers Morgan shuts him down. Cut him off. Cut him off. He's talking sense. He's talking sense, that bloke. Get him off. And we barely heard from him after that. And then it moved on to sports washing and borderline racism and insinuations and accusations. And it's bubbling up. It's bubbling up. And I tell you what, the day will come where we will be able to jam it down their throats, and I am very much looking forward to that day. But I would like to hear your thoughts, Blues. Get in the comments below, like and subscribe. Typical City is the channel, and I will see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now, holding up silverware.